Well, good morning, everybody. It's still No Shave November, so I still have my beard. I don't think it's going anywhere this winter, but you are important. This, lately on my way, I used to have these, when I was listening to Manly Hall, I had guys like Manly Hall and Alan Watts, and I was listening to a lot of philosophy lectures. I always had a subject for my videos because I was listening to, say, a 2-hour, a 2-hour speech about, certain values or integrity or anything, interesting things, and all these questions come to my mind, so I'd make videos about it. Lately, I've been trying to apply those things, and while doing that, I actually have come up with a few conflicts of interest in just the general, I guess, the image people have of humanity. And, I feel bad for folks that think that humans are these horrible accidents or flaws, or, that we're a mistake, we don't belong here. And I also feel sorry for the folks who think that we are the bee's knees of everything, that humans are the pinnacle of creation, that we're the ultimate. Somewhere in the middle is always the answer, and in this particular case, I started thinking about how we view our lives as being either one life, like say the Christian outlook would be the view that we have one life, and our entire life here is service to Jesus or to God, whatever, and then after life we spend eternity in heaven. And at the opposite end of the spectrum, we have folks who believe that we're only here once, and we're here to do what we like, and then we die, and that's it. But in Eastern philosophy, the idea is that what you do here determines how you live your next life, and which things you still have to finish. And I'm not judging any one of those as real. I was always really surprised to learn that Manly P. Hall, who was very opposed to religion, loved God and believed in reincarnation and believed that our next lives we would be paying the prices for these ones, and what we did right here would help us to move to the next way of life, which is interesting for a theologian and scholar to decide to take a side on that, and to not take a religion but to just believe in reincarnation, not based on evidence or based on should I say feelings or what they've read, but rather looking around and observing the world around you and saying, is this growth, or is this helpful? And my thought is this: if reincarnation is true, which honestly, even though I'm not a religious person, I still lean towards, after all the studies I've done on reincarnation, because I totally did not believe in it at all up until a few years ago. I thought it was just another excuse. And I still don't believe it 100%, but I do believe it in my heart that our souls, our energy does reincarnate in a form in order to better itself. And us as humans, often we will say, and this is kind of the root of this whole conversation here, is that we see ourselves as being either super important, we want to be recognized, we want to be noticed, or we want to be observed. Look at me, look at what I've done, look at these things I've created, look at who I am. And they want to be remembered for eternity. Then there are the folks who don't care and don't think that humans should be recognized, that humans are just one organism, that the individual doesn't matter, that we work as a collective, and that a person doesn't need to be recognized for anything. That's like socialism. That's putting everybody into the same boat. That's saying that no matter how hard I try to be different, I'm just going to be like everybody else. That doesn't work either. So we can't be recognized totally as humans for what we've done, especially if we did live past lives, because that would mean you've built up your repertoire into where you can actually start to do something. You've built up your karma, and you're trying to reach your moksha, and which is liberation from the cycle of lives. And that's a very interesting way to view life. I think it's a phenomenal idea, and at the very least, I think it's probably the least harmful view on life as far as religion goes. And that's why I really like Buddhism, is because it doesn't matter if it's true. The fact is that how you honor yourself and your others in this life will determine how you are viewed and how you live your next life. In that way, people are going to act accordingly, not to please some invisible force, but to please those around them because they know it's the right thing to do. So it's really easy to get angry at someone and curse at them, or think that you're justified in beating someone up because they made you angry, whatever their thing may be in a person, to realize that if reincarnation has any bearing on life whatsoever, it means that a lot of these people out here truly are young souls. And I hated being told I was an old soul since I was a kid, because I'm like, why do you say this? How do you know? Just because I think differently or act differently or I'm into different things, how does that mean I'm an old soul? I don't like that because it's a label. And I don't know. I don't know if there are old or new souls. And if so, you have to go deeper and say, how were souls created? If there's new souls and old souls, then where are the new souls coming from? And where are the old souls going when they're finished? Well, they go back into the ethereal, and then a new soul comes in? I don't know. These are the conclusions people have to draw on their own. And finding the details is when people get confused. That's why I try to take everything and just see it for what it is. And if I can't prove something, I'm not going to leap to it and try to speculate on it. But then again, you can't prove anything. So ultimately, we're all at our own hearts to say, are we here as a group to just act as a collective and not be recognized? Or should we be recognized for what we do? And honestly, in my life, I like being recognized for certain things that I've done, especially if I put a lot of love and hard work into it. If I spend 20 hours making a nice little jewelry box out of wood, and it's all lacquered and finished and sanded and everything, I want to go show it to people. People have seen 1,000 boxes and carvings, but I want to show it because I made it. And I'm not too proud, but I'm not too humble to where I don't even want people to see my work, because that's what life's about, is creating and showing. So recognition gives you the boost to do the next thing. So if I could leave it on one note, I would say, when you see somebody doing something that is something that maybe they're not that interested in, but they have to do, or they do a really good job on something that they're not very good at, take just a slight moment to recognize that and point that out to them and say, hey, you did a really good job on that. That's a really good work. They'll be like, oh, but it doesn't matter. They feel in your heart when you're told good things, when you're told that you're a good person, when you're told that you're doing things right, And I think that's important for each one of us to recognize each other for our attributes. If somebody makes a comment on a video that sounds really insightful, give them praise for it, or if it's just the same way people knock each other down when they say something bad or rude. There's always somebody to jump down someone's throat when they say something that's wrong. But when people say things that are right, they tend to be ignored. And give you one example before I go, is that a few years back I had Facebook, and who didn't, right? At one time or another, most people, at least my age or younger, had it. It was I was in a band, and I was on Facebook or MySpace, and it got all crapped out, so we tried Facebook. I started posting comments in the comment area where you post what you're doing or whatever. And every time I posted something that was outrageous or funny or whatever, people would always respond to it. If I put something in that was negative, which I never really did, but if I were to, people would always notice it. If I go in and I were to post a comment on Facebook that said something like, love life for what it is, enjoy the moment, embrace the day, it just goes totally unseen and ignored. People just go right past it. It's because the people that you meet on Facebook are usually people that you know and people that you know that know people. So when I went to YouTube, I was able to find people across the world. and across the country that saw things similar the way that I do. That when I put out a positive comment, people go, "Right on, that's a good comment." You know, that's important. That's recognition for making an effort to love. You know, and that's how I feel like the rest of the world wants to ignore these things. They want to ignore what's good and just say, "Oh, that's childish." You know, yeah, you can't just love, and well, you can. You can love everything. You can love every moment. I have some major shortcomings in my life. I have some major obstacles to overcome before I become the person I want to be. I screw up a lot. I don't screw up like doing things. I do things that I know I shouldn't do. You know, habits I know I shouldn't continue, and you know, even just drinking coffee, that kind of stuff. You know, I know I should eat better food. These are things that I have to work on, and I'm not going to beat myself up over it, because I see it as a challenge. And I just wish that folks could see that they are very special people, every one of you. I've had some of my subs say things about themselves that they don't like themselves, or one person sent me a personal message. It was a really long one, telling about that they wanted to commit suicide. You know, how does a guy like me respond to that? You know, how do you tell a person that you are a magnificent being and really have them understand it? You know, it makes me feel sad, but just to know that I can at least put a few positive words into a person's mind, hopefully it would change that idea that they would want to take their own life. But I don't like being in that position. That's like being a counselor, you know, that's hard. So, you know, it's a really rough thing to express to people how important they really are to this world. And that's why this video's intention is to tell people that you don't have to see yourself as this great, perfect person, but don't hate yourself. Just love yourself for who you are, and you'll find others will love you for who you are as well. So, hope everybody has a great day.